First story is titled, Am I the a-hole for refusing to financially support my in-laws until they show me some respect? I, 32 male, have been with my wife, 28 female, for 6 years, and we have 3 children, 6 male, 4 male, and 2 male. I have a speech impediment. It's nothing too serious. I don't stutter or anything like that, and people are definitely able to understand what I say. Since people suck, I was ridiculed because of it for basically my entire childhood by almost everyone I knew, including my parents. Of course, people still laugh at and ridicule me for my disability, but since I have gained confidence as I matured, I am less tolerant of it. One of the reasons I got contact with my parents and stand up for myself a lot more. My in-laws, like most people, enjoy making fun of and ridicule me for the way I sound. I have, of course, told them I am not comfortable with it, but they still do it. Eventually, I just started ignoring them or leaving the room whenever they do it. Recently, my dog, which I had for 5 years, passed away, so it's been a hard past few weeks for me, and I haven't had the best temper this week. Yesterday morning, my wife's parents came to my house to see our child. They were still sleeping when this happened. While we were having breakfast, they asked me if I could lend them some money since they have been having a difficult year. Obvious reasons why. And literally 30 seconds after they asked for money, my in-laws made a joke about my voice. At this point, I was at loss for words and simply told them to bug off and to learn some respect if they want money. All day, my wife has been begging me to reconsider, saying that what they said was just a harmless joke and that she's sorry if it offended me. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. What they said was just a harmless joke, and yet it sure seems to have harmed their chances for getting a free loan. For their harmless joke, they can be harmless broke. For their harmless joke, they can be harmless broke. For being mean to our bloke and his disability they like to poke. Not the a-hole. Also, couldn't resist adding to the awesome rhyme. Not the a-hole. Donates however much they ask for to a charity that helps kids with speech issues, since they're so bothered by them. Oh, I like the suggestion, as long as Soapy could afford it. Your wife is the biggest a-hole in the story, and I am upset on your behalf. Absolutely not the a-hole, and stand your ground. Maybe suggest to your wife that she do some self-reflection, or get some therapy for her unacceptable behavior too. Yep, having the victim apologize to the jerk to make peace is a selfish thing of the wife to do. Not the a-hole. Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole for calling my boyfriend a hypocrite when he told me to stop spending so much time in my crocheting? Yes, I know this sounds ridiculous, but he's fuming with me at the moment and I can't get through to him. Okay, well, I crochet a lot. Like a lot. It's my hobby and it helps me deal with my really bad anxiety. My partner doesn't like that I do it so much. Just to set some background, I work full-time, and when I'm not working, I make sure to clean up our house, make some dinner, ensure the dog has had a walk, just general household upkeep, before I sit down on the sofa and crochet. When my boyfriend came up to me today and said that he's unhappy with how much time I spend crocheting, I'm not going to lie, I laughed a bit, and basically said you spend more time playing games in one day than I do crocheting in a week. He really did not like that answer. I told him that before I crochet, I ensure that all my household duties are done, that dinner is made, etc. My boyfriend works part-time from home, and when he's not working, he's playing games. Just getting him to clean the bathroom once a week is a task in itself. He's fuming with me now and saying I'm attacking him and asking if I just want him to stop doing what makes him happy. I said that's not the case at all. Then he said that I'm just angry with him because he gets to work from home. Also not the case. I work in a brain rehabilitation unit. I've always enjoyed my job, and obviously it's not a career where I can just work from home. I called him a hypocrite with how he's trying to tell me off for doing something too much when he himself can't even get basic chores done. Now he's got the huff with me, and anytime I try to make conversation, he cusses me out. Lol. Am I the a-hole for calling him a hypocrite? Was asked to include this comment to why he came up to me in the first place about this. I probably should have mentioned his reasoning. The reason I mentioned the chores is because that's what he told me I should be doing more of. He said instead of spending time into crocheting, I could be using that time to do more impactful and useful things, Like I could be cleaning up more, or doing more laundry, or finding more fun dishes to make. I'm Polish and predominantly cook Polish food. He's never been very on board with that. Now for the top comments. Not a-hole. He has a lot more free time than you, but barely gets any house chores done, spends more time on his hobby, and criticizes you for having something you enjoy that helps you cope with anxiety? Tell me, Opie, why are you with him? We've been together for a long time. He was my first boyfriend when I moved here to UK from Poland. He let me stay with him when I needed a place. I'm generally happy in this relationship. I don't at all mind cleaning and cooking as I am used to it, but there are just a few things that we disagree on, and this is one of them clearly. Not sure why my comment is being disliked. Apologies if I said something wrong. He should not be cursing you out. Ever. Seriously, that is a huge red flag, Opie. Do not ignore that, please. I've seen too many friends and family deal with crap like this. It just makes my blood boil. Not a-hole, by the way. He's probably just worried because we all know crocheting is a gateway craft. You think you're going to make a blanket or two. Then it's a doily for every surface, and a cover for every appliance and tissue box. It's all fun and games until you both end up in a head-to-toe crocheted matching outfits. It's a slippery slope from hobby to addiction. Sarcasm, not a-hole. That made me laugh. It's true. Holy smokes, throw the whole boyfriend away. He's gone bad. Anyone who told me I should be doing chores while he plays video games would be out on his butt so fast he'd think he was magicked out there. Why would you put up with someone like that? Not the a-hole. The next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for refusing to go to my brother-in-law's public apology? I, male 46, lost my wife 13 years ago in a car accident. I was the one driving, and I got out of the hospital with a severely injured knee. I had a dislocated shoulder, and my nose was broken, aside from the post-traumatic stress disorder that I'm still dealing with till today. I took care of our 2 kids alone after her family, specifically her brother, blamed me. And he told everyone saying it was my fault and lied about me being drunk that night. Everything was clear. I wasn't the one at fault, but still. Her brother isolated me and turned everyone to hate me. I was kicked out of the house and they allowed only the kids to come over. I didn't want my kids to hear what their uncle said about me, but I couldn't stop them from seeing the kids, especially after my brother-in-law said he'd get the law involved if I don't let the family see the kids. Years went by and I haven't got married again. I simply wanted to focus on my children and my own well-being. I was honest with my kids about their mother's death. We were in therapy together, and that's when the kids said that they believed their uncle when he told them it was my fault. This caused a huge argument between me and their uncle, and the kids ended up seeing a different therapist. I couldn't handle hearing my own kids repeating their uncle's lies. I went no contact with the family, but my kids, as they got older, they continued to visit. I respected that. My daughter 20 moved out and cut contact. My son 18 went to stay at a friend's place. My sister-in-law is the only one who supports me. She too thinks their uncle made them resent me. They don't want to see me, nor even visit. Despite showing, my daughter still believed her uncle and kept blaming me, and it's already been a year since I've seen my kids. It's devastating, and it's more than I can handle. Now, my brother-in-law has been sick for over a year. I've been told recently that he wants to publicly apologize to me in front of everyone for what he did in the past, but I refused. His sister talked to me about how he wants to mend a relationship, but I told her I'm not interested. Others started pressuring me, including my own family. They're arguing with me, calling me grudge holder and a bitter person. I just refused to continue to talk, but they're not dropping it. They said I needed to do it for my children, but I honestly don't think that it'll fix anything. I don't think his apology will make up for all the years of struggling, trying to fix what he ruined while dealing with my own issues. He always took pride in turning my own kids against me, so I don't know why he wants to apologize now. Not a-hole. He destroyed your family with his lies. Tell them that when your children come to you and tell you that they know that their uncle lied and the accident was not your fault, then you will consider accepting an apology. And I only say consider because you can never get back the years that he stole from you, and you have every right to never speak to him again. The thing that you need to push back with on everyone pressuring you is that your children need to be explicitly told that they were lied to and have got their father out of their lives over that lie. Tell them that when your children come to you and tell you that they know that their uncle lied and the accident was not your fault, then you will consider accepting an apology. This is the best advice. You don't need his apology. You know the truth. He should apologize to your children and convince them. That is the only thing that does matter. Edit. Not an a-hole for obvious reasons. He wants your forgiveness before facing his creator. He wants a cheap atonement. You must not make it so easy for him at all. Not an a-hole. Let the brother-in-law apologize to the children that he used to destroy their relationship with their father. No deathbed mea culpas for brother-in-law. He destroyed your family, and now his conscience can keep him company with a continual reminder of just how awful his actions were. He's not dying, but he has health issues that are slowing him down. I don't know the reason or the purpose of his apology, and I don't even know what my children think about this. No one mentioned them, and my daughter moved hours away, so I don't know if she's even aware of what her uncle is doing right now. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole if I don't want to give my parents pocket money? I'm 20 with 2 younger siblings who are currently still in high school and middle school. I also live in a third world country. The pandemic's hit us pretty hard, but we've been pretty close to being poor since I was 13 to 14 because my father messed around with gambling. My parents are divorced. My father, 45, is currently unemployed. My mother, 44, has remarried since, and she gets her money from her current husband, 54, who is working abroad. I have 2 half-brothers from her new marriage. I am the only one earning regular each month because I freelance and I still have clients. I earn on average $700 to $1,000 a month. Freelancing, never really certain with the amount. Lately, I've been the one who's paying for most of the bills. Rent, because we don't have a house and we can't qualify for a mortgage. My siblings and my own tuition fees, etc. When I have extra money, I get some things for my family if they ask for it, / been talking about it. Like a new phone for my younger sister because she's had hers for years and it's dying, a sewing machine for my mother, etc. They never cost more than $200. I'm only 20. This freelance thing isn't a lucrative career that will make me rich. I've been bordering poor almost half of my whole life until recently. Think, not homeless, but we have no car, no home, nothing to our name. We're always renting, moving, living on a day-to-day basis. We still don't have any assets right now. I want to enjoy my earnings too. While I'd love to give my parents some pocket money, am I really obligated to? My mother told me I should give some money to my father because he's not earning anything recently. Isn't it enough for me to help with some household bills? She made it sound as if it's the morally correct thing to do because I'm earning now, and I felt irritated. It's the guilt that's eating me even though I don't feel like I'm wrong. Is it selfish if I don't want to give pocket money to my parents? Am I the a-hole for feeling / thinking this way? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. You haven't given any reason why your dad can't work or try to be an adult. He needs to step up, take care of his gambling addiction, which is where his pocket money would wind up, and at least try to support himself. You're doing so much for your family. Please don't get guilted into doing more than you're comfortable with. And in the infamous words of Reddit, don't set yourself on fire to keep others warm. Don't get so caught up in taking care of adults who refuse to act like adults that you end up hurting yourself. If the mom keeps prying, say that you will, but you will stop paying the bills. Watch how fast she freaks out. Also, $700 to $1,000 a month isn't a ton. Enough to pay the bills and a little extra, but not much. Why can't the dad get a job? You're doing practically everything, paying for so much. Don't fall for this. They want to make you the one to be responsible for everything, so they don't have to do anything. Don't feel guilty. I suggest that you make plans on moving out. This feels like a toxic situation. Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. You're already providing above and beyond, and your dad is currently dealing with the consequences of his own actions. I'm confused on this situation though. Are you living with your mom, sister, and step-siblings? And paying full rent even though your mom is receiving money from her husband? How is your mom financially contributing? And does your sister work? It's very confusing for me too. I'm currently living with my mother and siblings, but my father will be moving in with us too. Yeah, they're divorced. This sounds so fake, and honestly, I don't know anymore. None of my siblings are old enough to work where I live, There really is no part-time for teens or anything like that. The money my mother gets from her current husband goes to her 2 children with him mostly, and sometimes she buys groceries/food. Not the a-hole. You are covering rent and more. It's more your place than your mother's now since her husband is not providing. There is an issue there because you're supposed to building your own life, not supporting them. 3 months, Mom. I need to move out and make my own life. Best of luck. Best of luck with your own life too. Edit. Thank you so much for the answer and advice, everyone. I actually almost cried because I've been labeled as selfish a lot for not wanting to do something along with "I'm your family" / "I raised you, why can't you do this for us" thing that I've known to be manipulative, but I can't shake the guilt off. I'm trying to change my mindset and stop feeling guilty, plus stand up for myself a bit more. And that's the end of this video, folks. As always, leave a comment and hit like and subscribe. And if you want more of this content, turn your notification on to get updated on the latest videos. And I'll catch you in the next one. Stay safe. First story is titled, "Am I the a-hole for banning my former mother-in-law from my house because she keeps showing up and letting herself in?" My former mother-in-law is 52 years old and I am 32 years old. Back when I was 23, I got my then girlfriend pregnant. We married soon after and she gave birth to our little girl. 2 years after, my wife got extremely sick and passed soon after, leaving me with our daughter. I decided to move several states away back to my own parents, as I work a lot and my parents volunteered to help me with my daughter. This went on for a while until I made a good promotion and had enough saved up to get my own house half an hour away from my parents. And since then, watching my daughter during the day while I'm at work is split between the nanny I hired and my parents. Before you think I'm taking advantage, my parents insist on watching her. My daughter is 8 now, in case you wonder, and I generally work 8 to 6. My former mother-in-law decided to move to the town I live because she wants to be close to her granddaughter / my daughter. I initially had no issue with this. After all, my wife was her only child and my daughter her only grandchild. I only started having an issue when she actually moved. Since she moved here, she was at my house pretty much all day, including when I got home after work and the weekends. She would even be there when my daughter was at school and no one was home to clean. After having multiple conversations and arguments with her where I stated I was of the opinion her behavior was inappropriate and she was crossing boundaries, she finally toned it down for a while. However, slip-ups were and are common. Last week was the last straw for me. Since the past year and a half, I have started dating again and met a woman. However, due to Corona, we have not been able to spend much time together. And with everything opening up here, I invited her over after asking my parents to watch my daughter. When we were fooling around on a couch, my ex-mother-in-law let herself in, of course without calling, knocking or asking, and proceeded to lose her mind and accused me of cheating and disrespecting my deceased wife. I finally had enough. I went over, snatched my key from her, forced her out of my home and told her she's no longer welcome in my house. She really has no one else, and several people including my parents have weighed in asking me to change my mind. I am not sure if I'm the a-hole here. Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole because of 3 main reasons. 1. This is your house. 2. This is your kid. 3. This is your life. You lost your wife. I'm genuinely sorry for your loss. You grieved. You accepted your loss and then you moved on. You're not cheating on anyone, and you're well within your right to not allow her into your property. Keep her away from your kid. Her reaction tells me that she'll try and push her mindset of you cheating onto your daughter. Just remember that you are the parent and that you have your own life. Am I doing the math right here? Married at 23, widowed at 25, now 32? So his wife has been gone 7 years. Surely that's more than enough time to start moving on? Or does the mother expect a lifelong celibacy? Not the a-hole. Not the a-hole. You've warned her multiple times. If she wants to see her grandchild, she should call you and ask either to come over or take your daughter out somewhere. I would not give the keys back. With the grandmother being pissed off at OP, I wouldn't recommend supervised visits at the moment. Not the a-hole. Why does this woman have a key / access code to your home? She's 100% the a-hole. Good locks make good neighbors. I wouldn't recommend giving anyone a key who doesn't live in your house, unless you're going to be gone except one person whom you can trust to not do this, like your parents or a friend. Yes, my question. I am not even allowed to enter the home of my sister without knocking. I don't have a key. Why would she have a key? Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole for not wanting my mother-in-law to take care of my baby after she tried to breastfeed him? My husband and I both work full-time and we have a 2-month-old. My mother-in-law comes to our house every weekday and watches him for free while we work. We're on week 3 of this arrangement since I went back to work after maternity leave. It's very kind of her to do this for our family, and I appreciate it immensely. My baby is breastfed. I pump milk for her to give him during the day, and he gets milk right from the source on evenings and weekends. He loves nursing, and I do too. It's been a wonderful way for us to bond, and a beautiful experience overall. Yesterday, while I was at work, I opened the baby monitor app on my phone to check and see if my mother-in-law was able to get him to take a nap in his crib. She had been texting me saying he was crying really hard, so she was thinking about just holding him for a nap. So I wanted to check and see if he was okay and if she ended up just holding him. When I looked at the camera, mother-in-law was holding him and she had her shirt up and he was latched on her breast. I was shocked and horrified. I called her right away and she didn't answer, so I had to sit there and watch her attempt to breastfeed my baby. He was latched on, but obviously not getting any milk as my mother-in-law is not lactating. I called my husband at work, who eventually got a hold of her. Apparently, the baby was crying so hard, and that was the only thing she could think of to calm him down enough to sleep. She breastfed all 4 of her children when they were babies, and it always calmed them down enough to sleep. She was mad that I had checked the camera and told him it was an invasion of privacy. I don't want her watching my baby anymore. We can't afford a nanny or daycare. When I told my mother-in-law this, she freaked out and said I was being a witch, and she was just trying to calm the baby down and it wasn't a big deal. She says I'm taking her grandchild away from her and being unfair. My husband understands why I'm upset, but wants to give her another chance to watch the baby. He also doesn't want to spend the money to get a nanny or do daycare when she can care for our baby for free. Am I being unreasonable here? I'm so upset with her and just completely baffled at why she would do this that I never even want to see her again, let alone have her anywhere near my baby. I think I could possibly be the a-hole for checking up on her through the camera and also for not wanting her to watch my baby anymore, even though that would mean spending extra money and taking away something she really seems to enjoy doing. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole. No normal human tries to breastfeed a child they're entrusted to look after. This is not healthy/sane behavior. I would be concerned that she has other issues. Her reaction is telling as well. Again, a normal human would be supremely embarrassed and apologize. She may be lashing out because she's embarrassed, but it's not acceptable for her to swear at you or gasp, be incensed that you used the baby monitor for its intended purpose. This is exactly right. Clearly, her mother-in-law's judgments cannot be trusted. I wouldn't trust mother-in-law alone with a baby in any capacity, and I definitely wouldn't trust her to provide daycare services. Mother-in-law crossed a boundary that should have been obvious. And why would she think latching the baby to her breast would calm the baby down? There's no milk. I find this so revolting. I think mother-in-law should be in timeout for a very, very long time. Mostly because I wouldn't be able to stomach seeing her if my mother-in-law did this. Not the a-hole. I'm so shocked. Has she never heard of a pacifier? My mind would never go to breastfeeding another person's baby. I'd have a hard time facing her altogether. He won't take a pacifier. We've tried, but she could have tried giving him a bottle, and she didn't. Not the a-hole. That is so beyond words inappropriate to me. WTF was she thinking? Her judgment is highly suspect. The fact that she defended herself by saying you invaded her privacy. And hello, she's watching your kid and shouldn't be doing anything that requires living room privacy at that point. And that she doesn't even consider what she did as wrong clearly means she's not capable of safely taking care of your child. I agree wholeheartedly with this post. I would definitely not consider unsupervised time with the little one for crazy grandma for the foreseeable future. That is your baby, not hers. The next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for asking my mother-in-law to stop hanging out with our kids while our nanny's here? My husband is deployed and we are in the process of moving back to my home country. My mother and father-in-law are staying with us until we leave. When I'm at work, we have a nanny come to our house to take care of our 7 and 2-year-old kids. My in-laws are staying in a studio apartment under our house that has everything they need, with its own separate entrance. When I'm home, they hang out in our house, which I'm completely fine with. The problem is that my mother-in-law likes to hang out in our house while the nanny is here. She's only here max 7 hours a day, 3 to 4 days a week. Our nanny said she's fine with mother and being around sometimes, but 7-year-old has virtual learning and gets very distracted and needs firm guidance. She feels like mother-in-law is distracting, and she also feels like she can't be as firm as she'd like with mother-in-law around. She did say that it's nothing mother-in-law has done, it's just her personal preference. She also mentioned behavioral issues because mother-in-law wants to intervene and throws off their routine. We came up with a slightly revised routine to allow for some time with mother-in-law while also giving them some privacy. I said something to mother-in-law. I just asked if she could let them have a little space while I'm not here because we try to have them have a similar experience to being in school or daycare with rules and routines. I let her know about the new routine plan, and she said okay. A little over a week after this talk, I asked our nanny how it was going, and she said nothing has changed, and mother-in-law now insists on being the first one to attempt to help 7-year-old with schoolwork. I said something to my mother-in-law again, and she became very defensive. Clearly, she didn't take the first talk as well as she led on. She said she didn't understand why it was an issue, and they were here to visit their grandkids that they may not see for another few years. Some other words were said, and unfortunately our FaceTime with my husband had to be cut short so he could talk to her. Now for the top comments. Not an a-hole. As a former nanny, family members being around makes everything so much harder. I applaud you for trying to resolve the situation. Mother-in-law needs to respect the given boundaries. Agreed. It was always my rule that I would not care for the kids if there was another adult in the house. So very many problems. I only had to be burned once to learn to stay away from that fire. Not the a-hole. Virtual learning is already not an ideal situation, and mother-in-law is making it worse by distracting her. Your nanny is 100% right in speaking to you about this because mother-in-law is essentially hindering your child's school. Not the a-hole. I used to nanny for a family with a set of twins, and the second a family member was around, it was like I lost all authority. It really does make the nanny's job much more difficult. You made a right call. Not the a-hole. Grandma's living a minute away, so she doesn't need extra time. Grandma visits her daily, so they now need to fit the daily routine. Hard stop if school is being disrupted and authority figures are being undermined. The family is moving to another country, so mother-in-law is trying to get as much as she can. And it sounds like Opie understands, as they adjusted the schedule to give her more. It's a shame mother-in-law isn't more appreciative. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for telling my mother-in-law she's fat? My mother-in-law is a retired home economics teacher and extremely obese. I would guess she's 5 flat and 300 pounds. My kids and I are a little scrawny, but active and eat fairly well. Sometimes I allow them to have a soda when we go out to eat. Sometimes they don't eat their veggies or finish their meals. I'm half Asian, so believe me, my parents were the same flavor of, you best finish this food we earned for you. But they've chilled big time. They don't push their grandkids to finish or if they don't want to eat green beans. It ain't the end of the world. My mother-in-law lectured me to no end about nutrition and how she raised my husband and his siblings. Her daughter is also morbidly obese. I have said nothing until I finally lost it. I asked her if she honestly felt she was in a position to give me advice on eating. Her response made me feel bad. She said she understands nutrition but is an emotional eater, a food addict, as is her daughter. And my husband told me I shouldn't have said his mom was fat. Am I the a-hole? I feel like one, but then when I think of how much she lectures me, I feel justified. My mother lectured me to no end about nutrition. I would guess she's 5 flats and 300 pounds. Her daughter is also morbidly obese. It's just plain rude for her to lecture you about your eating habits or how you raise your own kids. Even if she was a healthy weight, she should keep her opinion to herself. Having a degree in home economics doesn't give her any authority to hand out and ask for advice and criticism of anyone's eating habits. Not the a-hole. Thank you. I may be the a-hole and I feel bad. Reading these comments helped me see her perspective. However, I have a limit in being treated like a moron. You are doing just fine the way you are raising your children and teaching them to have a healthy relationship with food. You aren't an a-hole to be annoyed by your mother-in-law criticizing your parenting. Is she getting therapy and guidance on how to handle her eating disorder? Is she getting help for her daughter? What makes your mother-in-law the a-hole isn't that she's overweight or has an unhealthy relationship with food. It's that she's got the absolute gall to lecture and criticize how you let your children eat food when they are healthy, normal weight. She doesn't know what the hell she's talking about. Maybe she's remembering something she learned in a college course years and years ago and wants to present herself as a nutrition authority. But her unasked for lectures are ultimately tiresome, misguided, and pointless other than for her to stroke her own ego. You really are not an a-hole here. She needs to shut up about how you raise and feed your kids. No therapy. There's a lot of addiction in their family as well as a lot of pridefulness. Thanks for getting it. A lot of it is that she's know-it-all and a busybody at my expense. So when I finally called her out, maybe in a thoughtless, terrible manner, but when I finally defended myself, she boohoos, and my husband's shaking his head at me for calling his mom fat. Everyone sucks here. I definitely understand why you were frustrated. It's rude to lecture people and their eating habits. Ultimately, I think a better way to go about this situation would be to first let her know you are confident in your ability to feed and nurture your family, and it makes you uncomfortable when she provides unsolicited advice. I think your response was a result of your frustration and maybe didn't come out in the kindest way. I think you should apologize for being insensitive, but make it clear that you would prefer she keep her thoughts on your family's nutrition to herself. Good luck. She should apologize to mother-in-law because obese mother-in-law with obese child is lecturing her on her children's nutrition and she had enough? No. Her mother-in-law should mind her own business if she can't handle her own health and not be trying to make her daughter-in-law feel bad for how she's raising her kids. She's not an a-hole. And that's the end of this video, folks. As always, leave a comment and hit like and subscribe. And if you want more of this content, turn your notification on to get updated on the latest videos. And I'll catch you in the next one. Stay safe.